Good evening, everyone. If we could welcome our chief guest with a huge round of applause. Vanakkam Coimbatore and welcome to the Viksit Bharat Ambassador Campus Dialogue at PSG Tech Institution University. We are very grateful to be here today amongst 1,500 of you representing 40 plus institutions of the city. 140 crore dreams, one purpose, Viksit Bharat. This is what we are here to discuss today. And we are so grateful to have in our midst Shri Hardeep Singh Puri ji, Union Cabinet Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, as well as Housing and Urban Affairs. Thank you very much, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us this afternoon here in Coimbatore. Before we start, it's important to invoke the blessings of God. So if I may invite the students of PSG IT for the prayer song and invocation song before we start this auspicious event.
Atma Rama Anandana Achyuta Kesha Narayan Achyuta Kesha Narayan Atma Rama Anandana Achyuta Kesha Narayan Bhabaya Harana Vandita Charana Raghukula Bhushan Rajiva Lochana Adi Narayana Anandana Adi Narayana Ananda Shayana Sachidananda Satya Narayana Sachidananda Satya Narayana Atma Rama Ananda Ramana Atma Rama Ananda Ramana.
May I now please invite our dignitaries on the stage to light the lamp so that we may begin the event. Thank you very much, respected. Today's event would not have been possible without the support that was extended to the Confederation of Indian Industry, the Coimbatore chapter particularly, and especially the hard work that was put in by the Young Indians CII chapter of Coimbatore. So before we move further, may I please invite on the dais Mr. Arjun Prakash, past chair CII Coimbatore, to please deliver the welcome.
Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs and Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Shri Akhilesh Mishra, Mr. Vishnu Prabhakar, Chair Young Indians, Mr. Neil Kikani, Co-Chair Young Indians. At the onset, on behalf of both the Confederation of Indian Industries as well as Young Indians, the PSG Institute of Technology, would like to extend our gratitude to our Minister for the engagement and the encouragement that he is providing to Yuva students for this Viksit Bharat program that we are having here today in our campus. Confederation of Indian Industries, the Coimbatore chapter, represents a diverse field of industries here in Coimbatore. Unlike many other tier 2 cities, we have a very big presence of industries, specifically textiles, foundries, textile machineries, pump manufacturing, we have jewelry, and many more. Each of these industry verticals are very large, have a very large presence here in Coimbatore. And you would be pleased to know that from CII Coimbatore, we've been working in an initiative called Coimbatore Next, which is basically also to look forward to the future. That is, we have an initiative where we are taking Coimbatore, reimagining the potential of Coimbatore by looking at what are the next sunrise industries that we can bring to Coimbatore. We're working with various industries here and also with the multinational organizations to bring these industries to Coimbatore. In this respect, I'd like to also mention to the Minister, some of our industries like the textiles and foundry are very energy intensive, and if the Minister actually helps us out also in form of energy security for our city, this will be great. And from the viewpoint of the expansion of our city, we are also looking forward to the Coimbatore airport being a little bit more accessible, the development of Coimbatore airport, and as well as the connectivity, some international connectivity to many other cities we are looking forward to. CII and YI, we work close. CII, YI is actually the youth wing of CII, as you may already know. We are also working closely with YI in this aspect. I would like to welcome the Minister once again, and we are looking forward to the possibility of collaborating with you in the future towards the shared goals of our city and of our nation. With this few words, I would like to welcome our Minister again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From the word, there was unmatchable synergy between the Viksit Bharat Ambassador Program and the CII-YI Coimbatore chapter. Because as we all know, national development has been a hallmark of young Indians. With that, I would now like to invite Mr. Vishnu Prabhakar to do the context setting and talk more about this synergy and how YI is contributing to national development today.
Thank you, Kritika. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். கொஞ்சம் சத்தமா கை தட்டலாம். On behalf of Yuva and young Indians, Dr. Hardeep Singh Puri, welcome to Coimbatore. Can we all have a huge round of applause to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Hardeep Singh Puri. Welcome and welcome, sir. I also take a great opportunity to welcome Mr. Akhilesh Mishra. Thank you so much on behalf of YI and Yuva. YI, as it was mentioned, works on awareness, action, and advocacy. And we are present in 67 different chapters. And Coimbatore, sir, is the largest chapter in the country with 370 plus members. So it's really befitting that you are here on behalf of the Viksit Bharat team and the Government of India to start this campus dialogue. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Tamil Nadu has about 15 chapters as well. This year, when we started the team, because YI works on thought leadership, youth leadership, and nation building is synonymous with Viksit Bharat. And most importantly, sir, we are very happy to share that this year's theme at YI nationally is Building Bharat. In this mission of Building Bharat, we want to move from excellence to significance. Whatever we do, small or big, Can we help the community? Can we help the four main stakeholders, the members, the Yuva students, that all our college students, Talar, which is our school students, and the rural economy? Can we bring them from excellence to significance and in turn build Bharat? So that is the theme and that is the essence of this year. And we're very happy to have our collaboration with the Viksit Bharat team, because that is what Prime Minister Modi also envisions. By 2047, we become a force to reckon with. Why also takes pride in becoming the voice of young India globally. But if we have to become the voice of young India globally, we have to become the voice of young India locally. And that emphasis on such programs for Yuva and for Talar. Most importantly, sir, today is going to be an interaction. Sir, with your permission, a little bit of Tamil I'm going to use. We have the Honorable Union Minister with us. He'll be giving a presentation about Viksit Bharat, about what India is, about building Bharat. Idhikapram, we are going to have an interaction with all of you. So feel free to ask as much as question. Dr. Puri has said that he wants to spend time with you, understand the pulse of India to build Bharat, to build the Viksit Bharat. So this is not just going to be a monologue after the presentation, it's going to be a dialogue. We hear from you, and that's the whole idea. If you see, it is Ambassador Coimbatore Campus Dialogue, and dialogue is a two-way thing. So on that note, welcome to all the dignitaries on behalf of YI and Yuva, and welcome to all the Yuva institutions. I'd also like to take the opportunity to give a huge round of applause to the Yuva team who made this possible in 48 hours. Can they stand up, please? Harsh, Jnana Sambandham, Vaishnavi, all of you guys, huge round of applause. In 48 hours, they were able to. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much to all members of YI, SRT, and YI Coimbatore who are here. Big thanks to PSG management for making this possible, and a huge round of applause to all of you. On a working day, you have come from different institutions. There are about 30 different institutions here, sir. Majority undergraduate. We would like to hear from you. With no further ado, thank you so much, and thank you so much for making it possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now coming to the moot point of this program, what is the Viksit Bharat Ambassador program? What are the roles that a Viksit Bharat Ambassador to play? And how can each one of you today become a proud Viksit Bharat Ambassador? I would like to invite on the dais Shri Akhilesh Mishra ji, CEO of Blue Crab Foundation, to throw light on these aspects. If we could please have the presentation.
This one, right?
Thank you so much, Kritika. And thank you all for coming today. As the speaker before me just said, this is a working day. And to see such an audience on at about 4 o'clock, 3:55, 4 o'clock on a Monday morning is fantastic. I also want to thank the Honorable Union Minister for joining us. He has come from Delhi specifically for this event. So we must thank the Union Minister for taking out time and giving eventually the presentation that I will make and speak to you. So thank you, sir, for coming. Is the presentation now set up? Right, okay, thank you. Now, we have been doing these events across the country. This is today the 27th event, Viksit Bharat Ambassador Program. So you would have heard about Viksit Bharat, Developed India, the goal that the Prime Minister has set for us by 2047 or before, that we must become a developed country by 2047 or before. But can only the government achieve this aim? Or do we all have to participate in our own little ways and bigger ways, smaller ways, so that as a country we move towards becoming a developed country of Viksit Bharat? And if we participate ourselves in our own individual capacities, or as institutions, or as organizations like CII or otherwise, then what can the roles that we can perform? Because this can be a question that you can ask yourself, you can ask others, you can ask us, that the government has a specified set of roles to perform. But as an individual, what can I do to contribute in making a Viksit Bharat? So this presentation is about that. It is very brief, very simple ideas that all of us can emulate in our lives. And the multiplier effect of that is making India or marching us towards becoming a Viksit Bharat. So what is Viksit Bharat? Join the largest people-powered movement this century. Now, you see, this century is very important here. We have had a similar people-powered movement in the previous century, and the result of which was that we sent the largest empire known to humankind back to its home place. It was a peaceful people-powered movement that Mahatma Gandhi led, and we attained our freedom in 1947, about 75, 76 years ago. So we have done this. The people of this country have the wherewithal to lead a mass movement. Can we lead another mass movement this century? Then the aim was to send the British back home. This century, the aim can be, should be, and will be to make India a developed Bharat, a Viksit Bharat, developed India. So this is our time, and if we utilize our time effectively, there is no reason why we can't do it. A previous generation has done it. Why can't this present generation do it? So what are the aims of Viksit Bharat, the vision for Viksit Bharat? Development, prosperity, progress. I don't think there is any reason to explain this or any need to explain this, or can there be any dispute on this, that we should collectively aim for Viksit Bharat. Now, you may ask or you may wonder that when we are asking you to become a Viksit Bharat ambassador, are we asking you to become political salesmen? No. You can, in your own wisdom, support any political party as you decide. But all we are asking you to is to become messengers of Vikas, messengers of development, and in your own little ways take development forward wherever you are. So Viksit Bharat Ambassador Club is actually a community with one purpose. This is spread across the country. Various kinds of events are taking place, and people are participating in their own little and small ways. So here are the 10 things that you can do. And ignite this, become a part of the Viksit Bharat Ambassador Program. The first is digital payments. Say to Digital India, promote digital payments. Not very difficult to do. In fact, I just had a lunch while coming here. This was a very small restaurant. I wanted to taste authentic Tamil Nadu food. And trust me, when I wanted to give cash to a person in the restaurant, said, why don't you give me digital payments? He flashed a QR code in front of me. Promote digital payments. Promoting digital payments promotes transparency, it cuts down on corruption, it integrates us into the formal economy. Those people who are not yet into the formal economy become part of the formal economy. Once they are part of the formal economy, they have access to formal banking channels and otherwise. So promote digital payments. All of us can do in our own little ways. And just by doing this, we are contributing towards making India, developed India, or Viksit Bharat. Champion Nari Shakti. Young people, we may be tomorrow joining organizations, becoming hiring managers, or becoming managers of human resources, becoming chief executive officers otherwise, wherever we can. And when we say promote Nari Shakti, we are not saying that give them any special favor. Just treat them equally, give them equal opportunities. And if all things being equal, other things being equal, can you actually promote Nari Shakti? The government has just taken an initiative that going from the next Lok Sabha elections in 2029, there will be 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha and state assembly constituencies. So promote Nari Shakti. Simple thing to do. Again, not something which is controversial, does not need too much of an explanation, but definitely, and I promise you, this will contribute towards building a Viksit Bharat. Go vocal for local. I'll give you just one example of what vocal for local does. So the government has started a platform called GEM. This is for procuring from across the country produces that the government of India uses. It is through this GEM platform that a woman from this part of the country was able to sell her thermos flasks to the Prime Minister's office. Because the Prime Minister's office is promoting vocal for local, there is a platform which is created through which anybody sitting in any small place can build a local product and then sell it across the country. And there is currently a paradigm to promote vocal for local. Simple thing to do, promote vocal for local. Buy local products. Let me give you one more example. About 3 years ago, we used to import about 70% of our toys from China and from other countries. In 3 years, since this vocal for local movement has taken shape, now we import zero from China, and in fact, we export 70% of our toys to the rest of the country. One simple move, vocal for local. In 3 years, we have completely upturned the paradigm. If we do this across segments, imagine the kind of economic growth this will seed, the number of job opportunities it will create for young people like you. So vocal for local, if you are a young person like you, vocal for local is one of the mantras to get jobs, generate jobs for young people like you. Promote vocal for local. Become a cheerleader for positive news in the country. Why should only be there negative news? If you come across a positive, why not spread this? Tell other people that some positive activity is going on. Let them also, in their own ways, be inspired by it, and maybe they can learn from it and practice it or replicate it in their own ways in their own localities. Take an oath for growth, that wherever I will be, I will promote growth. Be a Swachh Bharat superstar or a crusader, that I will promote cleanliness. And again, this is not something where there can be any controversy. All of us want clean India, Swachh Bharat. We have taken significant strides in building a clean India, Swachh Bharat, since the Prime Minister Modi took oath of office in 2014. In 2014, there was 38% sanitation coverage in the country. In the next 5-6 years, we increased that number from 38% to 100%. So now there is 100% sanitation coverage in the country across villages and towns. Their villages have been declared open defecation free and so on. But that is not the end of Swachh Bharat. That was one aspect of Swachh Bharat. There are significant other aspects. We have to clean up our cities, we have to clean up our towns, we have to clean our roads and so on. Let us become ambassadors of Swachh Bharat. Let's promote Swachh Bharat. Wear your culture and loud and proud. Promote your local culture. There is, mark my words, there is no country in the world which has become prosperous or rich while looking down upon its own culture. Japan, the Western European countries, US, or look at some of the rich countries in the Middle East. No country which does not take pride in its own culture has become rich. No country in the world, there is no other example. There was a paradigm in India where we were made to look down upon our culture. That paradigm has started changing. It must change. Only if we take pride in our own culture can we then propel ourselves into the league of developed nations. So we are your own culture. We are your own. I mean, if you take pride in your language, then take pride in your language. Spread it globally. If you take pride in your dress, in your food, in your praying habits, the way you go to temples or otherwise, wear it proudly. Cheer for incredible India. Promote tourism. If you have friends in India, domestic tourism, but if you have friends outside India, ask them to, request them to come to India. Promote tourism. Be a friend of the law. Again, no brainer. This is something all of us must do. Take the if after this presentation that you listen from the Honorable Minister, the questions that you ask, if say 1 or 2 points have convinced you, 5 points, spread the word. Ask others to join the Viksit Bharat movement. If each of us can add maybe 5 people more, not more, just 5 to 7 people more, imagine the chain that this will build, and therefore inspire all of us to spread this word of Viksit Bharat, and the exponential impact that this can have in building a Viksit India, developed Bharat is something which may be difficult to imagine today, but as I said, we have done this before. Now, speaking on the 75th year of India's independence, Prime Minister gave this chance to us. Work towards developed India, celebrate our heritage, focus on duties, strengthen unity, but most importantly, remove any traces of colonial mindset. Let us commit to all of these 5 punch prans as well. And this will also help us in moving towards the goal of making India a developed India. This slide that you see right now in front of you summarizes some of these things that I have said. If you want to contribute even now, say beginning tomorrow or today evening, small things you can do. Write articles, organize programs and events in your own localities, tap into your professional networks, share insights. Now, somebody wants to do all of this, our friends here, the organizers from my team, you can get in touch with them. They will help you put into groups. Supposing you write something, you want to write an article, If you write well, you can get published in national newspapers. We can facilitate that. So a lot of things you can contribute, start contributing from today, tomorrow, and day after. There is a structure to do all of this. So what I have just described here, all of this can be done individually. But if you want a structure, then there is the Prime Minister's app, Narendra Modi app. So there is structured way to do this day after day, every day. Activities are there. You get curated good news across the country, put it into one place. So you don't have to search. You find it ready-made material there. So on the Prime Minister's app, and this is called the Namo app. You search it on all the Play Store or the Google Store, and you will find a lot of content there which will inspire you towards making a positive change. A lot of events like this, you see the map of India, events like this that we are doing here today, they are happening across the country. People are doing these events themselves, and depending on the event, important speakers go there and talk to the students, to other parts of civil society and so on. And this movement has actually started across the country. If you want to be connected, so you see a email ID on the screen there. This ID is from the Prime Minister's domain, vba@narendramodi.in. You can write to this email ID. You can join this movement. You get a lot of curated material, information about new openings coming up, and so on and so forth. So if you connect to this club, this is a very simple way to connect. VBA is Viksit Bharat Ambassador @narendramodi.in. You get information from here, and you can ask questions there, which will be replied. So this community is growing across the country, and I request all of you to join in this movement and let us take India forward to becoming a Viksit Bharat. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And it very effectively answers the question that comes to our mind at a lot of times, that how can we within our individual capacities contribute to national development? And the Viksit Bharat Ambassador Program today is the answer to that question. It is also testimony to the fact of the Prime Minister Modi-led government, which believes in the motto, maximum governance, minimum government, and inclusive growth at every level. Our chief guest, who's joining us here this evening, is illustrious and has an exemplary profile in every way. Shri Hardeep Singh Puri ji is a former Indian diplomat and is currently serving as the Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, as well as the Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas. Along with that, sir also holds the record for being the minister serving the longest in the profile of housing and urban affairs. Not only that, sir has also served as the chairperson of the United Nations Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee from January 2011 to February of 2013. We are so grateful to have you in our midst, and with that, I would like to request Shri Arjun Prakash ji and Shri Vishnu ji to please felicitate our chief guest. Presentation. Now, for the moment that all of you have been waiting for since 2:30 p.m., the keynote presentation on India's epochal journey towards Viksit Bharat. Our chief guest today will be throwing light on the work that has been done on various facets for us today to proudly say that we are going to realize our dream to become Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. Sir, if I may please invite you to the dais.
Good evening, Vanakkam. I'm delighted to be here this evening, and many of you will not be able to guess why. So let me give you a few reasons. More than 50 years ago, when I was your age, we were not talking about Viksit Bharat. I left Delhi University after a postgraduate degree in 1973 to teach at one of the colleges. At that stage, whenever anyone was finishing an education and looking forward to a professional career, there were 2 or 3 banks to look forward to, a small private sector, and if you were good at taking exams, you could join the civil service. From 1973 to 2024 has been a long journey. But that's only one reason. Therefore, I'm delighted that I'm speaking to a lot of young people. I think I was told your average age should be around 21 or so. But I'm also very happy to be in Coimbatore because I have a very special personal, emotional attachment with Tamil Nadu. Now, you might wonder why that is so. Yes, my wife and I worked in Sri Lanka, but more than that, I have, and I can share this openly, my elder granddaughter in particular, is 14 years old. She takes great pride in the fact that she has Tamil lineage. My son-in-law is somebody who was born in Tamil Nadu. He got his education, went abroad. But my granddaughter, especially the 14-year-old one, is with great pride that she says that her lineage is not only Sikhs, but also Tamil Nadu. So I have always a very special emotional bond when I come here. But today, I think the purpose of this interaction assumes a special meaning. I was very happy when Akhilesh Mishra ji said that the canvas of Viksit Bharat, the Honorable Prime Minister said that it is his dream, in a sense it's a commitment, that by 2047 India should be a Viksit or a developed nation. This is not a political commitment. My own view is, irrespective of whichever political party you belong to, if you belong to any party, or whatever be your political leanings, whether you are center of the spectrum, right of center, left of center, I would have thought that it is in everyone's interest that by 2047 we should be a developed country. And why is it important for all of you? Because my generation, I told you I was your age more than 50 years ago. I think I'm in reasonable good health. I should be around for a little longer. But the real beneficiaries of Viksit Bharat is all of you. Because we are today in 2024. If we are to be a developed nation by 2047 or earlier, and your average age today is 21, then in 2047, you will be 42 or 43 years old. And then you will be in the prime of life. Today, India has a demographic advantage. It is a young country, but it is more than just a young country. It is a fast-growing, one of the world's brightest spots in the economic journey. So I'll request Kritika to get us our first slide. Now, why am I giving you this broad key points? 2013, the world described us as a fragile, one of the fragile 5 countries in the world. In 2014, the transition began. What exactly was this brand called fragile? There are other countries also like us who were characterized as fragile. But fragile meant, if you're traveling, sorry I'm giving you a travel because this is about transition, and you had breakable stuff in your suitcase or your bag, then the airlines, whether you were insured or not for your baggage, the airline would put a stamp, fragile, handle with care. Because if you threw the bag on the conveyor belt, something would break. So that was the world's perception of us. Then 2014, the Honorable Prime Minister assumes responsibility in Delhi, May 2014, and a journey begins. But where were we in 2014? We were the 10th largest economy in the world. Now you fast forward, 2022, 2024. Today, from the 10th largest economy in the world, we have come to being the 5th largest economy in the world. That jumping of 5 spaces is significant for a number of reasons. But I think the most important one is that for 190 years after the Battle of Plassey, a trading company came to India, the East India Trading Company, and after coming here as a trading company, they acquired political control. And Akhileshji was describing, we had one people's movement where the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was able to establish a connect between a political party consisting of eminent lawyers, etc., and he created a link with the masses, the peasants. And a Jan Andolan began, the freedom movement. And we acquired our independence in 1947. But when we reached 1947, our economy had been destroyed. 190 years earlier, I'm talking about Battle of Plassey. 190 years earlier, a Jagat Seth or Marwadi in Calcutta was rich enough to transfer the entire proceeds of the East India Company through one bill of transfer. At that time, 190 years earlier, India's contribution to the global economy was 25%. In other words, India, if you call it in Hindi, Sone ki Chidiya or the golden bird, contributed 25% of the global GDP. And after 190 years of colonialism, from 25% of the global GDP, we came rumbling down to 2% or so. That journey, which began in 2014 under the Honorable Prime Minister, today we are not only the 5th largest economy, but within the next 5 years, within the life of the next Lok Sabha, we will be amongst the 3 large economies of the world. Kritika, please fast forward. I have covered most of this in terms of narrative. If you look at the GDP growth, last quarter, the economy grew at 8.4%. If you look at CAGR inflation, it used to be 8.7%, 4.8%. Foreign direct investment, we got $36 billion in fiscal year 14. Today, not even today, in fiscal year 22, it went up to 83 billion. When you look at exports, 466 has gone up to 777. Forex reserves from $30 billion, it has gone up to $645 billion. Current account deficit, again, has come down from 5.1 to 1 to 1.2. Please fast forward. Next slide, please. Now, one of the criticisms about us earlier was that whilst India was growing, most of India was being left behind. But I think one of the defining features of the last 10 years has been that we have gone from Sarvodaya to Antyodaya. That is to the farthest first. I had the privilege, as Kritika was pointing out, of being, I don't know whether she said it, I think she pointed to part of it. I was India's ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations in both Geneva and New York. And one of the first experiences I've had, when the United Nations system established what is called the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs, which ended in 2015, the MDGs, in terms of concept, were revised by a think tank of the West, the OECD. And every country was told, you do this, you do that. This came as prescriptions from the outside. When the MDGs were being finally negotiated, and I went as permanent representative of India to the UN in New York, I made it a point to say that the next set of development goals will have to be from the ground upwards. And hence we were able to negotiate the Sustainable Development Goals, or the Agenda 2030. The MDGs succeeded because one large so-called developing country managed to lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, China. But the Sustainable Development Goals will succeed because India will succeed, India is succeeding, and therefore the SDGs will succeed. Let me now point out to some of those issues. A slide which is not captured in this slide, but we have succeeded in lifting 250 million people of our citizens out of what is called multidimensional poverty. 250 million people being lifted out of multidimensional poverty is a very big achievement, and more is being done there. The first slide, welfare to the last mile. The philosophy of the Modi government is you don't only have to grow, you have to make sure that the benefits of development of goods and services reach the farthest, the weakest point in. And that comes out in many of our projects, which I will, in the subsequent slides, point out. Women-led development, we started with women-centered development, as Akhilesh was saying, and they'll come out there. Now we've gone from women-centered development. In the next general election, after the census is ready and the delimitation of constituencies is done, we will have 33.3% of seats reserved for our sisters and our daughters. They will not be at the expense of their brothers or their parents, fathers. This will be additional seats for them. And it will be women-led development. And experience globally has taught us, wherever you've had women-led development, the GDP goes up by 30%. This is universally accepted. Yuva Shakti, I think we have evidence of it here. Young CII, youth, the power of innovative ideas, economic reforms, we get enough opportunity to see that. Ease of living urban India, in the next slides I'll show you. Digital India, energy and sustainability. We have several slides, and then cultural renaissance. Can we move to the next, please? I mentioned moving from Sarvodaya to Antyodaya, or last mile benefits. Banking, 52 crore accounts of Jan Dhan Yojana. The amount of money given PM Mudra Yojana. Public distribution system. Today in the country, 800 million people, or 80 crore of our citizens, are getting 3 meals of dry ration in a day. And that scheme is going to continue for the next 5 years. Skilling the unskilled. Supporting farmers. Over 7.3 crore operational counts. Beat se bazaar. One nation, one market for agricultural products. 1.7 crore farmers now registered on e-map. Ensuring the uninsured. Next slide, please. Now, I would like to come to some of our programs. Akhilesh ji, when he was giving his short introduction, he mentioned about sanitation having gone up from 38% to about 100% sanitation cover. I want to share a more startling statistic, if you will allow me. Can I have a mic to walk around and stuff? Yeah, I'll give you one more statistic. You know, we all produce what is called waste. Thank you. We all produce waste. In 2014, the amount of waste which was reprocessed, both domestic waste, industrial, restaurants, at the end of the day, what they would do is take all their leftover vegetables and other things, just throw it outside this thing. So what did we have to do? We started with segregation at the point of production. That is, you separated the dry waste and the wet waste. Wet waste produced compost, dry waste was taken, and then you would try to reprocess it. But Akhileshji, the total amount of waste reprocessing which we were doing in 2014 was only 16%. Now, these are statistics coming from states. So the states claim they were doing 17, 18%, but each state has a vested interest in examining the amount of waste they were actually pre-processing. So I made a qualifier, and from 2014, from reprocessing 16%, today we are reprocessing in 10 years 78%. In other words, if you produce 100 tons of waste, you were only reprocessing 60 tons earlier. Now you are reprocessing 70 tons. That's why you have all these huge legacy sites like Ghazipur and others. And the Modi government has given a guarantee within the next 2 to 3 years, we will have reached a stage where with the help of technology, we will be reprocessing not 78% but 100% waste, and we will do the bioremediation of all the legacy dump site. That is the change. I'm only mentioning that partly. Swachh Bharat Mission, we have built 11 crore toilets. Jal Jeevan Mission, 14 crore households have got clean tap water. In Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, these are all schemes which I'm associated, including Ujjwala, Swachh Bharat, PM Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan for the urban part I am. One of the most transformative changes in India has been the fact that Labhartis or beneficiaries today can hope under different verticals to get a house. Get a house with a proper pakka roof on top, toilet, and on top of that, get cooking gas. You know, I don't want to make a political point because this is not a political meeting. Often I'm asked by my friends in the opposition who will say, you know, in our time, gas, in your time, there was no gas available. When I was in the university, again, long time back, a gas cylinder was very rare. In the 1950s, we started cooking gas cylinders. In 2014, the total number of gas cylinders available in the total was only 14 crores. Today, that 14 crores has become 32 crores. And in 2016, we started a scheme called Ujjwala, where the oil marketing companies give a free cooktop to every household which qualified, economic weaker section, and gave them a free cylinder. During the pandemic, when economic activity had come to a stop, 3 free cylinders were given. Today, my latest figure, if I remember, 10 crore 28 lakh gas cylinders have been handed out under Ujjwala scheme, and the price of Ujjwala cylinder has kept coming down. Overall price of gas has come down from 1100 to 900 to 800, and the Ujjwala beneficiaries are getting it for 503. People said, oh, but they're not affording. No, an average of 4 people, mother, father, 2 children, consume average 4 cylinders. And the Ujjwala consumption is already of 3.84. So whether you look at PM Awas Yojana and the urban sector, 1 crore 17 or 19 lakh houses were sanctioned. 80 lakhs have already been given, and all of them under different verticals, they are seeing the transformation in their lives as a result of that. So I want to perhaps, 25 crore Indians escaped multidimensional poverty. I already took up in the last one. Next slide, please. Women-led development. You know, one of the defining characteristics of all of Modi ji's schemes has been that our sisters, our daughters have been the main focus. Let me tell you how. If you build a toilet, we built 11 crore toilets, who's the beneficiary of the toilets? It's the girl child. Because the girl child, you are able to, the child and the mother don't have to go out into the field or suppress their need to go out into the field because there's no toilet in the house. So we built 11 crore toilets, many in the what are called public toilets or community toilets. Apart from that, enhancement in paid maternity leave has gone up from 12 weeks to 26 weeks. But I'll give you some other statistics which will really surprise you. Today, under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, or the Affordable Housing Scheme, the title of the house has to be in the name of the lady of the house or co-jointly. So out of the crores of homes which have been handed to beneficiary, I think more than 73% are individually in the name of the lady of the house. That is women-centered development. You look at all the others, ban on triple talaq, protecting the rights of Muslim women, 21 crore mudra loans to women for entrepreneurship, MMR reduced from 130 in 2014-16 to 97, more than 2.5 crore out of 4 crore homes are owned by women, I mentioned that. 301 ITIs set up exclusively for women, more than 10,400 women officers and defense forces, 3 times increase since 2014. More than 10 crore families empowered through Ujjwala, I've mentioned. India top in gender equality at the flight deck with 12.4% of the world's total women pilots. Today, having a lady, or your sister, or daughter flying an airplane is not regarded as anything new. And I remember when I was civil aviation minister, we found out that we were leading country for employing women in the flight deck. Next slide, please. I want to fast forward a little. Number of IITs, number of IIMs, which has been built in the last 10 years. In an IIM, IIT, these are the, prestige engineering and management institutions, 7 of each built. If you look at the innovation-driven economy fueled by surge in patents granted, now all of you are familiar with intellectual property. If you are a writer, you want to protect your book through copyright protection. If you are in the world of industrial patents or design, you want to have a patent. Now please see the number of patents. In 2013-14, the number of innovation-driven economy fueled by 8 times surge in patents is only 4,227. Today is 34,153. Which means the country is not only having startups, it's not only having people who are doing business, but they are innovative. They are patenting their products or finding other intellectual property protection. Well, I will not go through each one of them because each slide I could spend another 5-10 minutes on, and I don't think we have that kind of time. 54% increase in number of universities. In 2014, we had 723 universities. Today, we have 1,113. Next one, please. Okay. Ease of living. Now I want to come to one of my ministries. I just want to give you one figure which is captured at the top, not correctly, not the figure. In the 10 years of the previous government, I mean 2004 to 14, the total amount of expenditure incurred in all the schemes of the central government put together was about 1,70,000. All the schemes put together. In the 10 years of the Modi government, that has gone up more than 10 times, and today is over 18 lakh crores. What's the difference? 10 years, 1,70,000 crores. Next 10 years, 18 lakh crores. And that is what is making these schemes successful. I want to do the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana also. I'm doing the urban one. In the previous government, it used to be called the Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Reform Mission and Rajiv Mission. The total number of houses they built for the urban space under this Awas Yojana was 13.46 lakhs. That also they didn't, we completed them later. Now, from 13 lakhs, we have gone up to 1 crore 1.186 crore. In other words, 1 crore 18 lakhs. This is the difference in terms of what has been done. Next slide, please. Well, we talked about taking the benefits of development to the most vulnerable and marginalized societies. And the most interesting in this is the Swanidhi scheme. When there was an economic lockdown during the COVID pandemic, something interesting happened. If you were a student in the university, you continued studying. If you were in agriculture, you got your income. But if you were a street vendor, then the problem came that there was no activity. The cities were closed down and became very strong, vulnerable group. So the Pradhan Mantri ji, the PM, introduced a scheme called the Street Vendor Scheme. And today I can tell you more than 84 lakh loans have been disbursed to street vendors, and the street vendors have now become part of the formal economy because they draw a loan, their data is taken on board, and they become beneficiaries of all the other schemes as well. Next slide. The total amount of metro lines in 2014 was 248 kilometers. In March 2024, it's 945 kilometers. But the more important statistic is in the next 2 years, 3 years, we will be the world's second largest metro system. After China, it is United States, which has 1,560 kilometers of metro. But I think the United States is already saturated with metros. They don't need more metros. So India will overtake Japan, Korea, and the United States. India will be the largest metro system in the world. And the idea is to move people around. And for that, you need good urban transport, hence the metro development. Next slide, please. Now, I want to come briefly to the oil energy sector. There was a reference to it. And I'll fast forward the rest so that we can have question and answers. Because the Indian economy is growing at a very rapid rate, in fact, we are firing on all 6 cylinders, our energy consumption is 3 times the global average. In other words, for every 1% increase in global demand, India, it increases 3 times. And the estimate is that in the next 20 years, 25% of the global demand will come from India. And something remarkable has happened in global markets. Next slide, please. India was the only country in the world where petrol prices and diesel prices actually came down. We've done for energy security, we diversified the number of countries from which we imported. Earlier it used to be 27, now it's 39. We have gone into biofuels in a very big way. We have done more exploration and production, and we made energy transition through electric vehicles, and now we're working full-time on green hydrogen. Next slide, please. Now, this is a petrol price comparison between BJP-railed states. And why am I giving this to you? Because the Honorable Prime Minister on 2 occasions, November 2021 and May 2022, reduced excise duty on petrol and diesel, and the BJP states followed. As a result of which, there is a difference in petrol prices between the BJP-ruled states and the non-BJP ruled states. Some places, for instance, the difference between in one case, it's 14 rupees 65 difference in between a BJP-ruled state and a non-BJP-ruled state. Let me also same thing in diesel, something like 10, 11 rupees different. Next slide, please. However, the oil marketing companies done, I would say, in spite of all the fact that they held back their prices brilliantly, if the market rose 40%, OMC's rose 39%, our BPCL gained 43%, GAIL 70%, HPCL 72%, OMC 45%, IOCL 153%, EIL 189%, and oil 250%. So the economy is growing. Today, if they are able to register growth, they pay taxes on it, and they're also able to keep prices down. Next slide, please. I just want to let this be the last slide in a way, then I'll make 1 or 2 concluding remarks. Business is growing Old laws have been done away with. We have faceless assessments for tax purposes. We have investor-friendly policies. We have enhanced insolvency framework, digital transformation, infrastructure development, startups. I don't know whether we have a slide on the number of startups we have and unicorns. Doesn't matter. But today, I always, when I'm addressing young people like yourselves, you're not just going to be going into the employment market. You will be, in fact, contributing to the employment generation because you will be providing jobs to others because of the innovation that you are undertaking. Next slide. This is about Digital India. I think we are already familiar. Akhilesh ji gave you a beautiful example. He went to have lunch somewhere and that lady said, don't give me cash. Here is my QR code. I think these stories are all, I think we'll make this soft copy available to you. Next one. Gati Shakti. Now, one of the things that you have to notice that there's so much development taking place everywhere. It's very important to synchronize these. Gati Shakti infrastructure, I think, embodies that spirit of taking a coordinated, holistic view. I mean, the RRTS is spreading. I told you about the metro system as 945. I should have added another 1,039 kilometers is under construction. Modernization of ports, highways, expressways, bridges, ports. Next one, please.
Ramani bhajita noivini tirum veen sanchala magan ridume Sita Ramani
No, I think a very important point that was made was that no country in the world has ever been able to grow economically if it has not taken great pride in its own culture and its own history, its own. And Tamil Nadu, I must tell you, is a place, I'm not saying because I have Tamil relationship in my family, but Tamil Nadu is a cradle of civilization, linguistic, cultural. So here is a situation when we now are no longer have to be defensive or feel diffident about our culture. We take great pride. Equally, when you take pride in your culture, you take pride in the language, you take pride in food, you take pride in local products. Local for vocal. I mean, this is part of it. Next one. Now, I think we've got what we've reached in 2024. I just want to conclude because I think I've taken a little longer time. I just want to tell you what I think is going to be the shape of India in 2047. I think by and large, no matter which yardstick you look, no one, anyone, anywhere in the world today is doubting the fact that by 2047 or well before that, India will be a 40 trillion plus economy. No one is doubting that our per capita income, which is rather low right now, will be that over $14,000 per annum, which is more than what China's is. I think we can reach that Viksit Bharat state well before 2047. And I think this is what this meeting is all about. And this is why I am so encouraged by this interaction, because this is dependent on you. So today, join as Viksit Bharat ambassador, irrespective of what your political persuasions are. As Akhilesh said, our colleagues here will help you to the app. Hold on. Give your ideas. Because the Viksit Bharat, I mean, these guys sitting around me are still young. I'm not going to be around in 2047. But you can define the contours. You can define the nature of the development in a developed India. And I think India will be one of the two large economies of the world at the rate at which you are going. And the success, the rate at which we will get there will depend on you. So my congratulations to you for being born 50 years after I was born. So it's a more confident India. But more than that, today you have a government which only provide a broad enabling system. You fill in the rest of the gap. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for really giving us a comprehensive insight. major contours that the government has been working on tirelessly in the last 10 years to truly make it the India success story. So for the part that I think everybody's been waiting for, the interactive question and answer rounds. Now, before we start with that, just some simple quick rules. Keep your question crisp, and let's not engage in cross-questioning, because then that will give as many people a chance to take their question to the chief guest. Yes, and please do introduce yourself, which college you represent, and what are you studying. So if we can start the first question. Can we have the mic, please? Please do introduce yourself.
Hello. Hello, sir. Hello.
We're unable to see you. If you could just wave.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, hello, sir. I'm Aishwarya. I go to PSG iTech. I'm from mechanical first year. With about 33% reservation given to women in legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha, how do you think women can pursue a career in politics?
How do I see?
How do you see women pursuing a career in politics?
Well, thank you very much, Aishwarya ji. I don't know about you. I'm very excited about this 33% in legislative assemblies and central legislature and parliament. I'll tell you why. You know, this transition from women-centered development to women development is a very interesting transition. Sometimes when I talk about empowerment, I'm very often reminded, and I've got three feminists at home. My wife, who was part of the establishment of UN Women in the New York when it was established. She was the Deputy Executive Director or Assistant Secretary General. She often reminds me that women have always been empowered, but some society works in such a way that that empowerment does not get its opportunity to register. This movement from women-centered, some of my me when this women reservation bill was coming up, अरे तुम्हारी सीटें तो नहीं चले जाएंगे, अरे तुम्हारी सीट नहीं जाएगी. I don't know if you understand. Your seat is not going. This will be 33.3% additional seats in parliament. So if the parliament strength is 543 now, it will be 33% more than that. There will be limitations. Some constituencies will become reserved. But the say of women in politics, wherever I go, I haven't spent a lot of time in the south. I was in Palakkad for 8-9. And one very interesting question I ask people, and I'm going to ask you this question. So please answer it truthfully. When women reservation comes, how many of you want to join politics and MP or MLA? Tell me. Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't mean a man. I mean ladies. My sisters and daughters. Yeah, this is what I like. Lady here. It doesn't mean that if you raise your hand, you have to contest an election. The more I go, the more people say, why not us? I'm not trying to between the two genders. Please, that's not my idea. No, it's normal. If you want to contest an election, it means you want to be participating in decision making. So women-led development is about that participation. And as I told you, wherever women-led development has taken place in the world, GDP has gone up by 20 to 30%, sometimes more than 30%. So my congratulations to all of you in advance. Whenever the next assembly elections take place in Tamil Nadu or Parliament, a lot of these very bright, technical, educated, engineering students present here also showing an interest in participating.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we have the next question?
There are two hands which have gone up here simultaneously.
Can we just the mic in the center, please?
Good evening, sir. Shri from RVS College of Arts and Science.
Where is it?
The city is becoming overcrowded. How are we looking at developing infrastructure in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities?
I'm sorry, madam. Can you please just speak slowly because I lost audio. Identify yourself and give me the question.
Could you repeat the question, please? Thank you.
With cities becoming overcrowded,
Well, I think the most important development in infrastructure will take place in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Let me tell you why I think that. One, I'll give you one small statistic, which is not my statistic, but it is a statistic of a consulting company called McKinsey. 2 years ago, just when I had become a minister, I saw this. They said in India, from that time, I'm talking roughly about 2019, 2020, to about 2030, India will be constructing between 700 to 900 square meters of urban space every year, which is equivalent to a Chicago. My mission to you, young lady, is that most of that construction will take place in Tier 3 cities. Economic growth will take place in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities because the major urban centers like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai are already pretty concentrated in terms of economic activity. So my answer to that is the infrastructure development will take place there, which means roads, other infrastructure projects, housing, and the whole gamut of infrastructure. I think Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities are the ones where even the foreign investors and others are looking at for economic opportunities.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the next question? Can we have the mic, please, in the center of the room? The person handling the mic, Arsha, if you could just give it to the gentleman here. Here, right here, the one standing. Yes, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, sir. Good evening. Excellent presentation for its insights to us, sir. Good evening to all. Yeah, sir. My question related to logistics, sir. In now recorded 2023, India in 38th place, World Bank Logistics Performance Index. How Viksit Bharat helps to develop logistics infrastructure in 2047, which place expert to India in logistics index performance index.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I've got it. Logistics. Listen, it's very simple. If you have a large country, the cost of moving goods, services is slightly different, both in terms of time taken through inland transport, time taken for ports, shipping, forwarding, all that. The cost and efficiency has to come down. A study was conducted by the Ministry of Commerce, and I don't have the results of the study now, but the government is giving concentrated attention to getting the logistics cost down. Because once you get the logistics cost down, you also become more competitive in exports, both for domestic use and for exports. Now, it's very interesting. I'm not saying that the logistics cost coming down is solely good. You must have a good product, and I think this one district, one product, local for vocal, all that is helping. Your currency sometimes, if it depreciates a little, it helps in the export. But if you're a net importer, the currency factor can also work to your disadvantage. The government is giving very high priority to bringing logistics costs down. If I'm not mistaken, in my time when I was with the Commerce and Industry, there is also a special secretary dealing with the issue of just logistics. So it's a very high priority.
Thank you. Can we have the
you,
next
sir.
question? The next question, please. Yes, right here, sir.
Good evening, sir.
So to your right.
I'm Simon Joshua, pursuing my BCom CA in KG College of Arts and Science. And my question is, we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat. How are we looking to reduce our dependency on nations for crude oil, petroleum?
How are we reducing our dependency on crude?
No, it's a brilliant question. Brilliant. What's your name? What's
Sir,
your name?
What's your
Simon
name?
Joshua, sir. Simon Joshua.
Joshua.
Simon, listen, my friend Simon. It's a very easy question to answer and at the same time a very difficult question to answer. Today, India is dependent on crude oil imports up to more than 85% of its requirement. It is dependent on natural gas. About 50% is imported. Now the question comes, how to become Atmanirbhar? The idea is to become Atmanirbhar, but the idea is not to commit suicide. If we stop importing, there will be no petrol and gas here. Now we consume, on an average, 5 million barrels of crude oil in a day, which goes into our refineries to produce petrol and diesel. Because, again, I don't want to make a political point, because some bad decisions were taken. There was a time, even when I became a minister, I think in September 2017. I was told by a lot of people, sir, why are you bothering to increase domestic exploration and production? Oil is available cheap outside, it's much cheaper to import. Why do you want to invest? That's a wrong policy. We corrected that. Now in gas, where we are still dependent 15%, 50% on imports, Simon, today, every year we are registering an 18% increase in the natural gas which was domestically produced. Every year, 18% it goes up. In crude oil also, we were already importing only 85%, but our economy is doing very well. So you need more oil. So we are doing both. We are getting it from imports in order to be able to fuel the economy, but we are also increasing exploration and production. Let me give you two examples of what the Modi government has done. We have a sedimentary basin, that is where this could be available, of about 3.5 million square kilometers. PM took a decision that 1 million square kilometers of this, which was no-go area, has been opened up for exploration and production. Now you're beginning to see the result. So the actions which we are taking in the last 2-3 years or 4 years, we should have taken 20 years earlier, because you did not go in for systematic exploration and production. You got into a situation where economy is requiring oil, you're importing, but the E&P was down. But I assure you, before too long, you will find that our E&P figures today are amongst the best in the world. Why? Because oil is being found. Recently, off the coast of Kakinada, I think about 30-40 kilometers off, there was a field which was found, and the PM green flagged that vessel. We are producing there, I think, 40 to 50,000 barrels a day by May or so. So things are happening, but they should have been started earlier. Because there was delay, now we are having to pay the price for this neglect which took place earlier.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we have...
No, one more. It's a very nice question. So, one, we opened up 1 million square kilometers of our sedimentary basin. Secondly, earlier our policy used to be, come and invest here. You spend your money. After they spend the money and they found oil, they say, Hamara, this is sovereign. We said, no. We will incentivize your exploration and production. And on top of that, we have made data freely available. Because data is the most important thing. So we have put the data on a national basis at the University of Houston in Texas. So anybody in the world can study the data and can come here. You know, there are 4 or 5 big oil majors in the world. One of them is devoting 20% of its supercomputing time to analyzing the Indian data. So you know how much interest there is. That's why foreigners are coming up for tie-up, etc.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we have the next question? Sir, left.
Here.
The left.
So I'm Abhinav from PSG iTech. So my question is, as young students, what are the sectors we must be as a promising sector from employment perspective?
Promising sectors in terms of employment opportunities for youngsters in the coming years?
All the sectors are promising. Let me give you a small example. If the expenditure on the urban spend has gone up 10 times, it has gone up from 1,70,000 crores to 18 lakh crores. When urban expenditure takes place, what does it take place on? It takes place on cement, on steel, on workers, etc. When you go in for ethanol production, let me give you a small example. We didn't get a chance to cover that. Apart from increasing E&P, we are also going into biofuels, ethanol in a big way. Ethanol means we today have from 1.4% of ethanol blending in 2014, we have come to 12% blending in 2024. When we reach 10% blending, we save 41,000 crores on the import bill. And because we saved 41,000 crores, we were able to give 42,400 crores to our agriculturists. So the agriculture sector benefited also. That money which went back. Today on biofuels, we have been able to finance the agriculture sector by about 80,000 crores. Any sector that you given, if you are going into, say, I'll give you a very simple, you're building a big infrastructure project. We can calculate for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for 1,000 homes which are doing, how many jobs are generated. Equally, when you're going into, today you're one of the largest automobile manufacturing markets in the world. How many jobs does that create? It creates opportunities for skilling, education, and so on and so forth. So my answer is employment. You see, earlier we were neglecting the manufacturing sector. Our economy had become almost, traditionally agriculture was important because 65% of our population lived in rural areas. But the contribution of agriculture to the GDP was coming down. Manufacturing was also gone. Today, the mobile manufacturing is a story. Today, we are reclaiming our place as a manufacturing economy. That's why I'm giving you these figures. So my answer is, all sectors of the economy which are growing provide employment. They may provide in different forms, some basic employment, some very high-skilled employment. But a growing economy is not only providing employment, it's also providing you an opportunity to innovate. And you as startups, as unicorn, there are over 100 unicorns in the country.
Thank you, sir. There was a question in the center of the room. Yes.
So, good evening, sir. I'm Savraksha from Coimbatore Institute. So, it's really glad to meet you today. So, my question is there any collaborations with any private sector entities for this implementation under the scheme, Viksit Bharat scheme?
No, 100%. I think the point that Akhileshji made was very, very, very relevant. Viksit Bharat can be a dream, a commitment unleashed by the government and the Prime Minister. But the participants have to be the private sector. Your growth will come in the private sector. I'm sometimes these days pulling the leg of my friends in the private sector. I said, my public sector is doing very well. I gave you my oil companies are doing so well. No, but the real contribution will come from the private sector, from the youth, from everywhere. Governments are not in the business of manufacturing themselves. We are in the business of creating an ecosystem which is benign, which encourages, and which people should come and say, India is where the government is supporting this ecosystem. That's why you saw those foreign direct investment figures. Right. You saw 10 years ago what it was and what it is today. It's more than double, 2.5 times, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can we have the next question? I think there's a question here, third row.
Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir.
Can you raise your hand so that we can't see you? If you could raise. Okay, right there.
Hi, sir. Good evening. So my name is Shrashti, and I'm from Sri Ramakrishna Engineering College, and I'm pursuing electronics and instrumentation. And my question is, as a student from Tamil Nadu, I'm curious about to know how students can actively participate in governance for the betterment of our society. And also, what are the steps you think a student should involve in decision-making process?
My God, if I knew the answer to your second one, I would have done better myself in life. No, let's be very clear. You come from a prestigious engineering college. Clearly from your question, I can make out that you have a sense of wanting to contribute to development of society, development of the country. You can do it in any number of ways, If your field is electronics and instrumentation, look at the nature of society we are developing now. you know, digital India, electronics, the basis, what we are doing in across the field, what my colleagues Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Ashwini Vaishnav, their ministries are doing, hundreds of places. But if you are interested and if you want any form of help by, I'm sure that my friend Akhilesh Mishra or my office would be very happy to guide you if you want an internship somewhere in your summer vacation, you want to join for 6 weeks, etc. Or you want to interact with some people who are already doing that work, and that interaction will result in experience sharing, just exchange of views. When I come to a gathering like this, packed hall, I don't come here to tell you, but I also come to gauge what you are saying. And therefore, we'd be very happy to help you in, network with people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now we have excellent platforms like Viksit Bharat Ambassador and MyGov also, where actively one can participate in governance. The last question. Yes, sir. Can we have the mic, please?
Mike is coming. Mike is coming to you.
Good evening, sir.
1 second. If you could just have the gentleman ask the question.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm assistant professor of mechanical engineering at PhD Tech. So my question, I have a two-part question. So in your slides, you told that 25 crore people have crossed the multidimensional poverty line. Can you briefly explain what is that multidimensional poverty line? It will be useful for the students, sir, please.
See, there are various definitions of poverty.
Yeah.
And different international organizations have a habit of setting income before this thing is poverty, that is absolute poverty, etc. But multidimensional poverty is a yardstick where you say if you move out of that multidimensional poverty, it means you have now crossed over. So, you know, the problem with these international definitions, and I'm taking a risk and sticking my neck out, is no two situations anywhere in the world are identical. Like, for instance, if you earn $1,000 in New York City, and you earn $1,000 in Coimbatore, $1,000 in New York City is $1,000. In Coimbatore today, at the current rate of exchange, would be about 84,000 rupees. I would think 84,000 rupees for somebody with my limited interests in life would be quite okay. Similarly, on multidimensional poverty, I think once you say that this is the benchmark and you're able to lift total population kitna hai hamara 1.4 billion, that is 140 crores. And out of that, if you lift 250 million or 25 crore out of multidimensional poverty, it's a very big.
Absolutely.
I think, as I mentioned, the MDG succeeded because China was able to lift 300, 400 million people out of multidimensional poverty at that point of time, with help from India, Nigeria, South Africa. But the Sustainable Development Goals of Agenda 2030 is succeeding because India is being able to lift people out. We have not reached 2030 yet. Already in the last 10 years figure I had, which was 2014 to 24, the figure I had was 250 million. I'm sure by 2030 we will be doing more. We will do not only what China did in the previous MDG, but perhaps do even better than that.
Thank you so much.
Sorry for my long-winded answer, because if you get very specific, I may not be able to answer your question.
It's perfect.
Thank you.
My second part of the question. So when we're talking about biofuels, and this is a transition period where we move from petrol vehicles to electric vehicles. So what kind of strategic plan are we working on to move from biofuel usage to electric vehicles?
No, we don't want to move from biofuels to electric vehicles. The two have to coexist simultaneously. Let me tell you why. An electric vehicle is a big improvement because it's not emitting toxic gases onto the street. But unless the grid is green, then your electric vehicle is made on a grey grid. So it's an improvement in terms of what's going to happen there. Your objective should be to make the grid totally green, then the electric vehicle also becomes win-win-win. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Biofuels, on the other hand, biofuels and green hydrogen, which is the fuel of the future, when you have a hydrogen cell, what are you releasing into the air? Water vapor. Totally green. With biofuel, whether it is ethanol. You again, it's totally green. So the idea is to move towards net zero. Now again, I want to be very careful. I believe that the green hydrogen, which is a success story of the future, today what is happening, the story in green hydrogen is that you have to bring the cost of production down. My American counterpart, Jennifer Granholm, in one of my first meetings after I became petroleum minister, told me we should move to from 1 to 1 to 1, which is 1 kilo of green hydrogen for $1 for 10 years. Okay? Today, the cost of producing a kilo of green hydrogen should be around $3. It is coming down, and when I asked my experts, etc., they said we'll be able to bring it down to $2.40. I ask you a question, as a student like you, although you are an assistant professor, right? Right. I was an assistant professor, but 50 years ago. Okay. Now, we are spending about $185 billion, if I'm not mistaken, on imports of fossil fuels here. Would it not be better if the price of green hydrogen has been brought down to $2.40? Instead of spending $185 billion to import fossil fuel, we give that as a subsidy to green hydrogen for the growth of green hydrogen. Yes. So we are facing many interesting prospects. But just now we've got a target for 2030 on green hydrogen. Since I'm one of the ministers most passionate about green hydrogen, I always go on saying, let's do it quicker, let's do it better. And I think the success of green hydrogen will ultimately come from my refineries. Because electricity constitutes only 17% of our energy. So my friend R.K. Singh, we are old colleagues also, I tell him, whatever you do, success of green hydrogen will come from the OMCs. Because electricity or power is only 17% of the overall energy requirement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, your question.
Good evening, sir. I'm Hima Suresh from Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, pursuing technology. The present of urbanization in housing demand, especially in urban centers such as Coimbatore, how does the ministry intend to provide affordable housing, even considering the fact of preservation of green spaces and environment sustainability?
Brilliant question. Let me tell you what is the problem, what is the extent, and what have we done. First objective is that everyone who's an anyone, no matter whether you're from economically weaker section, lower income, must have a roof over. So what did the government do? The government came out with a Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in urban and rural sector. Together they have produced 4 crore homes under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. I deal with the urban sector, 1 crore 19 lakhs. Okay? And we are completed very quickly. They come in 4 verticals. Okay? In other words, we provide, by the way, the issue is land is a state subject. Land is not a central subject, so it's a state got to do. So we provide a book of options for verticals. One is affordable housing and partnership, where the state government provides the land, the central government gives a little money, and the state government gives a little money, and you produce a economy of affordable housing for EWS and lower income group. The second is in situ slum rehabilitation. Because urbanization is an autonomous process, people move from tier 2, tier 3 cities into megapolises. They come from rural areas into semi-rural areas, into tier 2, tier 3 cities. And people have propensity to set up their home or a Jhopadi or a JJ cluster, wherever there is. If you find employment somewhere, you'll find some employment somewhere, you go inside. But in situ slum rehabilitation. The third one is CLSS. Which is credit-linked subsidy scheme, where if a young couple, many of you get married, you want to buy an apartment, you go to a bank, typically the bank will ask you 12% interest or 13% interest. You come to the government will give you 3% interest subvention upfront. Okay? So you have these 4 bouquets, AHP, CLSS, in situ slum rehabilitation, which is the fourth one. Yeah, beneficiary-led construction. Your family has an old home. It requires repairs. You come to the government, central government will give you 1.5 lakhs to do it up. But this is what the government is doing. It's done very well. But state governments can have their own scheme. But the bulk of it is in the private sector. The private sector is now coming up with affordable housing. Your second part of your question was sustainability. So what did we do? The Honorable Prime Minister devoted an entire year. I think it was 2022, but I'll have to check up my memory. I'm rattling off so many figures. Whole year was devoted to inviting companies from all over the world to come and show their green technologies in the construction sector. A fantastic one-year-long program, out of which we produced a short list of 53 technologies, which CPWD, NBCC, and all the companies started using. Out of those 53 technologies, we had 6 lighthouse projects, which means in 6 cities of India, we build or we are building, I think most of them are done, 1,000 homes using the latest green technologies in 1 year. 1,000 homes in 1 year using the green technology. So we cover everything. Now, what I think is happening is today, green technology as a demonstrator has already caught on. So the big private sector companies, when they make any construction, are using green technology. We have now ensured that that seeps down and also comes into governments. Central government has taken it on. I'm sure the state governments will also start imbibing.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sorry, we may not be able to take more questions. We're running out of time as well.
One more last question.
Okay, take just a last.
Yeah, take one or two more.
Sir, good evening, sir. I am Saral Kumar from Dr. NGB High-Tech. And my question to you is, what is the development of EV transportation and battery technology in our nation?
Yeah, electric vehicles are a very important part of future urban mobility. I take that for granted. Now, the issue is the battery is the heart of it. And then there are also some what I call critical minerals or rare earths, etc. We'd go into that. That world is just adjusting itself. I was, the other day, a few months ago, I hosted something at home for an MOU between one of our oil marketing companies and Panasonic of Japan. Many such ventures are taking place. Just now there is a view that one country in the world has cornered all the critical minerals and EVs. Don't believe any of it. There are enough critical minerals around. In our own country, let me tell you, because the subject was earlier under the atomic energy and private sectors couldn't, we will start exploring and discovering. You'll find you yourself have critical minerals. And I think I remember a discussion very recently where a lot of work is being done on this. So my answer to your question is, this is work in progress, and you'll see very good progress in India on this very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank
one last question if you don't. Sir.
One second. Go ahead. Please ask your question.
Hi, sir. Glad to meet you. My name is Dhanush from KG College. I want to know what do you know if you notice drilling mud decreasing in density during the oil extraction?
Can you repeat your question, please?
What would you do if you noticed while drilling mud decreasing in density during the oil extraction?
This is it's a very good question. I'll tell you, I know a little bit. I've been petroleum minister for a while. See, once you take a oil well, when you do the original extraction, all right, the oil comes out quickly, etc. But after a period of time, the activity of that well, I don't know whether I'm using correct, diminishing. So some of the wells reach a situation where after a certain period of time, you have to invest, you have to put pressure water, you have to put an investment in order to be able to take that out. That's where your question is. How you do it, I'll be very happy. There are international companies which only deal with this issue. In fact, we are now, some of our old wells which are part of the original thing, we are now getting international consultants to find out how we can put more pressure water and other techniques. This is just one of them. There are other ways to make the wells, because you never exploit it. Every year it goes down by a certain percentage. You are familiar with that. I think the percentage is quite high. So after 10 years, in fact, the extraction from that is quite a bit. But you have to invest, and with the investment, you can then realize the remaining potential. But if you send me a specific question, I'll get one of the technical people to send you the exact what we are doing. What we do is in theory, but we are doing a lot of work on that to make wells again productive and to exploit the remaining potential from that. Thank you.
Thank you very
One
much.
last question, if you
So
don't
we
mind.
will have to now close. We are running out of time. Students have to return as well.
So myself, Rajeshwari.
Let it be the last, yeah.
Sure, sure.
So I am Rajeshwari from Faculty of Research in Management. Pursuing logistics and supply chain management. And my question is, in 2014, the waste being reprocessed at 16%. Now it's nearly 78%. And what are the actions that we have to do to reach 100%?
No. To reach 78 to 100 is a work in progress. See, I'll tell you what is required. What is required? Waste is of different kinds. And I want to say something lighthearted, I hope you don't mind. When I go to New York and I talk to the waste management people, they say, our waste management techniques, waste reprocessing techniques may not suit yours, what you require in India. Why? So I keep joking with them. Do you think the waste we produce is different from yours? He said, there may be in moisture, in terms of what goes into it. But the technology is very clear. Now I went to Goa. There they are taking all the waste and they're putting it into producing cement. Brilliant. I am not worried about that 78% to 100%. That is already work in progress, because these many waste processing plants and technology has already been applied for, because we came to one conclusion very early, that waste is wealth. Today you are not looking at waste as a nuisance. You are looking at waste in order to be able to process it for energy, for other things. Like, for instance, one of the things I have to worry about is what is called construction and demolition waste, CDW. When you are building a big product, what happens? You tear down. All right, some of the stuff you crush, you use in the construction of the next, but a lot of it is also waste. So today, going from 78 to 100% is not a problem. My real problem is, what do I do about these legacy dump sites? Every big city has some huge thing. That bioremediation is what we're working on. I'm an optimist by nature, but I'm reasonably confident that we'll get the result there also.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for answering each of these questions so very patiently. And a big thank you to our young friends for asking such pertinent questions this evening.
No, I have very happily answered, but I want you all to become ambassadors of Viksit Bharat. In whichever way you go, whether you take to payments, whether you take to development, women-led development, Akhilesh Bhai gave you a menu of options. But the very fact that if you can come and join the app and just see what's happening, and I'm not saying because I have a role to play. No. As I said, my generation is not going to be around. But when we reach Viksit Bharat status, you guys are not only will be the determinant, but you will be the beneficiaries of that Viksit Bharat. So it's very important that you do that. So that's what I want to see from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, the inputs and suggestions you gave us today, that is also a role that you're playing as a Viksit Bharat ambassador. Please use the app and put it there. With that, can I invite on the dais Mr. Neil Kikani, co-chair, Young Indians Coimbatore chapter, to please give us the closing remarks and the vote of thanks.
Good evening. Good evening to the young outstanding, unstoppable, talented heroes, which is the short form of youth. Honorable Minister Dr. Hardeep Singh Puri ji, Akhilesh Mishra ji, to the friends of CII and all the wonderful students of various institutions, a very good evening. Akhilesh ji mentioned 10 promises, 10 points of Viksit Bharat. I would like to say, sir, we will take it as 10 promises in the years to come ahead, and we will think of India not for 2029, but for 2047. India is no longer a fragile country, but a country which is forthcoming, fast, and a world favorite. And to make it unstoppable, we the youth need to be a catalytic force behind India's growth story and for India to really become Viksit. I thank you. I thank PSG iTech. I thank the faculty. I thank the minister for coming all the way down from Delhi for this event and to address it so enthusiastically to all of our students. I thank our UA faculty who day in and day out for the last 48 hours have pulled this event off. Thank you so very much. Jai Hind, Bharat Mata ki Jai, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. We have refreshments for you in the dining room. Thank you. Thank you, lovely audience. Ahead. In case the students would want a selfie, if you could just stay back here.